Hi, Patricia here for Purely Gates Embroidery. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to demonstrate how fun and easy it is to stitch a Mylar embroidery design. Mylar Embroidery is the name I trademarked for a technique of creating a shiny embroidery design without using any metallic thread. See the sparkle in this embroidery? Now, just like an applique design is created specifically for applique, a Mylar design is created specifically for Mylar. So to get this shine using the Mylar, the embroidery design must be digitized for it, or the Mylar won't shine through the design. Purely Gates Embroidery is the only company you can get an authentic Mylar embroidery design. My method for creating this type of embroidery started back in 2006, and since then I've created over 150 collections of designs, and I'm glad to be able to share this with you. So this is Mylar. It's what creates the shine in the design, and it's your embroidery thread that you already own that gives it the color. What's better than that? You already own the threads, you just need the designs in the Mylar. So let's see how all of this works. I'll be stitching one of the designs from the collection Mylar Swirly Sewing, and you'll see that stitching a Mylar embroidery design is not much different than stitching a regular embroidery design. Let's get started. I've loaded my design on a flash drive and opened the design in my embroidery machine. I've printed out the color change chart that comes with the design. This color change chart tells me when to lay down the Mylar over the design and when to tear away the excess. When you stitch one of my designs, you don't have to use the colors I used, but you do need to consult the color change chart to know when to lay down the Mylar and when to tear it away. And yes, it just tears away. No cutting needed. My stabilized fabric is hooped and the hoop is attached to the machine. If you notice this extra layer I've hooped here, it's a piece of felt. Go to my website, purelygatesdigital.com, and click on videos. You'll see a video called Hooping Tips, and you can learn more about it there. Looking at my color chart, I've loaded the first color on my embroidery machine, and I'm ready to press the start button. While this stitches the first color, let's take a closer look at the included color chart. Here for this design, you will see this chart has a red dot and a green dot. You'll also see a key at the bottom of the page that tells what these dots mean. The green dot says, place Mylar after this color stitches. And the red dot says, remove excess Mylar after this color stitches. The placement of the Mylar will be unique to each design. So like I said before, you need to consult the chart for the design you're stitching. If you place the Mylar down at the wrong time, you won't get the sparkle you expect. Here, our green dot is on color change 3. Therefore, we will stitch our design going down the color change chart, stitching colors 1 through and including color 3, the color with the green dot. Then we will lay the Mylar over the design. Remember the word after. You will lay the Mylar down after this color stitches. So we will stitch color 3, then we will lay the Mylar down. Now while this is still stitching color changes 1 through 3, I'm going to answer some of the frequently asked questions I get about Mylar embroidery. What colors of Mylar do you use? It is the opalescent color. It is the only color Mylar you need. Remember, it is the Mylar that creates the sparkle, and it's your regular embroidery threads that give it the color. We sell the Mylar that you will use in our designs, and we guarantee that you can wash, dry, and iron anything you put our designs on using our Mylar. If you left an iron on top of one of these designs, your thread would melt before anything happens to the Mylar. Also, after 10+ years of doing this, it's well tested. The Mylar won't flake out of the design or lose its sparkle. This feature is what makes it safe to use on baby quilts or items that will be laundered frequently. Does the Mylar sheet have a right side and a wrong side? The answer to that question is no. What stabilizers do you use for a Mylar embroidery design? You will choose a stabilizer for a Mylar embroidery design just as you would for a regular embroidery design. In other words, the fact that it's a Mylar embroidery design has no bearing on how you will stabilize your fabric. Now that color 3, the color change with the green dot, is through stitching, I'll lay the Mylar over the design. Notice that I've cut a strip of Mylar, and I'll place the end of the design. This way, once I remove the excess, I still have a big piece to use on another design. Now that the Mylar is placed over the design, I will continue down the color chart. I'll thread my machine with color number 4 and press the button. You'll notice that the first thing the design does after the Mylar is laid over the design is to stitch a running stitch around all of the areas created to allow the Mylar to show through. This way, we don't have to babysit the design once it's through with the running stitch. You won't use any spray adhesives to lay down the Mylar. It has a natural static cling. While this continues to stitch, I'll answer a few more frequently asked questions. Do I have to store the Mylar in a special way? No, it doesn't. There's no expiration date on the Mylar, and it's not affected by humidity. It doesn't matter if it has folds or gets wrinkled. Just smooth it out with your hands before you lay it over the design so that when your hoop moves to different areas, the needle doesn't drag it across the hoop. In fact, the crinkles actually add more facets of sparkle, just like on a crystal. What will the design look like if I do not put the Mylar in the design? In areas created for Mylar, you'll see your background fabric show through. Sometimes this will give you a cool effect, but this is something you can try on your own. Because we are Mylar Embroidery, and this is what sets us apart, we don't stitch them without the Mylar. I do, however, have a comparison sample of with Mylar versus without Mylar. See how much depth and dimension the Mylar gives the design? Now we've reached the color change with the red dot. Again, the red dot says to remove the excess Mylar after the color stitches. So let's stitch color change number 6. Color change 6 with the red dot is now complete. I'll just tear away the excess Mylar. Now let's continue through the color chart, finish this design, and answer a few more questions. Can you resize a Mylar embroidery design? I recommend that you don't. The reason being is that the design was digitized in that size with a clean fill stitch. If you've watched an embroidery design stitch, you see that it starts to stitch and fill in an area, and then it runs over to another area and fills it in, and then it runs back. If you resize these Mylar embroidery designs, you're changing the shape as well as the size, and you'll see those errand run stitches within the design. You can try it, but most times the design won't look as intended. How far does one sheet of Mylar go? Our Mylar sheets are 18 by 30 inches and will do every design in the collection at least twice for most collections. It really does go a long way. Does Purely Gates Embroidery sell single designs? Not at this time. Each Purely Gates Embroidery collection is made up of many designs, and some include the designs in multiple sizes and styles. You can view all of the available designs in each collection on our website, as well as see close-ups of actual stitch outs so that you can see the quality of the designs. Now our design is complete. Look at the sparkle and shine and the dimension this design has with the beauty of Mylar. And as you can see, there was very little difference in stitching a Mylar embroidery design versus a regular embroidery design. I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out the entire line of Purely Gates Embroidery design collections featuring Mylar embroidery on our website, purelygatesdigital.com. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, check out my other video on going beyond embroidery to see a cool way to enhance your embroidery even more. Thanks for watching.